Hey there, so this week's lesson is going to be about Steve Jobs and his resignation from Apple. I'm going to talk about, of course, the story, then I'll have some pronunciation practice in the proper pronunciation section, and I'll talk a little bit about giving a presentation about this particular topic as well. So let's get right into the story. Steve Jobs, founder of Apple, has chosen to step down from his post as CEO of the company. The former chief operating officer, Tim Cook, will be succeeding Jobs as CEO. Jobs resigned in a letter to Apple's board of directors, stating, "I have always said if there ever came a day when I could no longer meet my duties and expectations as Apple's CEO, I would be the first to let you know. Unfortunately, that day has come." In that same letter, Jobs stated that his desire was to remain as chairman of the board. Steve Jobs has been fighting pancreatic cancer since 2004 and has been on medical leave since January of this year. This was Jobs' third period of medical leave. He briefly made an appearance in March and June to unveil the iPad 2 and the iCloud, an online cloud computing service. In part of his resignation, Jobs left this farewell. "I have made some of the best friends of my life at Apple, and I thank you all for the many years of being able to work alongside you." That was a story about Steve Jobs' resignation. Now stay tuned for proper pronunciation. Alright, in this week's proper pronunciation, I'm going to teach you guys some sentences rather than just the words. So the very first sentence is, Steve Jobs, founder of Apple, has chosen to step down from his post as CEO of the company. Now you should stress Steve Jobs, founder, Apple, step down, actually not so much step down, but post, CEO, company. Those are the main nouns, and actually only nouns, in this particular sentence. There are no stresses usually on verbs or other smaller words, usually just nouns and adjectives, all right? So, for example, listen again. Listen for the intonation now. Steve Jobs, founder of Apple, has chosen to step down from his post as CEO of the company. Notice that everything else is kind of together much faster, spoken much faster, but those words are spoken much more clearly and not slowly, but just more clearly. The second one, in that same letter, Jobs stated that his desire was to remain as chairman of the board. Now listen again. In that same letter, Jobs stated that his desire was to remain as chairman of the board. Notice how I said in that same letter, very stressed, Jobs, stated that his desire was to remain. All of that part, stated that his desire was to remain as, is all put together very quickly. Stated that his desire was to remain as chairman of the board. Chairman of the board, In that same letter, Jobs stated that his desire was to remain as chairman of the board. Okay, notice that. The last one that I have for you is going to be focused on Jobs with the apostrophe. This was Jobs' third period of medical leave. Okay, Jobs'. You can say Jobs, but usually people will say Jobs'. So then what are the stresses? Jobs' third period medical leave. This was Jobs' third period of medical leave. Notice those words are more clear. If I say it slowly, this was Jobs' third period of medical leave. Let's go through all those one more time. First one, Steve Jobs, founder of Apple, has chosen to step down from his post as CEO of the company. Second one, in that same letter, Jobs stated that his desire was to remain as chairman of the board. And the last one, this was Jobs' third period of medical leave. There you go. That is proper pronunciation with some sentences. Make sure you practice those and really work on that intonation. Stay tuned now for I have to give a presentation. In this week's I have to give a presentation rather, I'm going to talk about 3 things that you could talk about to describe the story about Steve Jobs and his resignation from Apple. So the first thing you could talk about is maybe comment about some memorable Apple products or events that you have witnessed yourself or that maybe you have yourself. Then you could talk about how Steve Jobs is resigning and maybe what kind of impact that might have on the company and maybe even the industry. Then you could talk about the third thing is talk about Steve Jobs himself, maybe his leadership, his style of running the company as a CEO, whatever, or maybe the importance of living a balanced and healthy life because he is resigning or he resigned due to health concerns. So where's the balance between working a lot and maintaining your health? So you could talk about those three things in your story. So again, the storylines were, number one, you could talk about some sort of memorable Apple events or products. Number two, you could talk about the situation with him resigning, what impact that might have. And third, you could talk about either Steve Jobs himself or maybe the necessity of having a balanced work and family life or healthy life. So there you go. That was the story about Steve Jobs resigning, a little bit of pronunciation practice, and also, of course, something about how to give a presentation about this particular topic. See you again next week.